Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Today we're talking about a pretty cool power supply here, solar generator, battery pack, whatever you want to call it. This is a brand new product. It's actually not even available for purchase. These guys sent it out to me. Obviously, it's called the ETaker M2000. And it has a lot of really cool stuff. I have tons of these batteries. You've seen them on my channel. I use them all the time. I test them all the time. I'm not really a channel dedicated to like the nerdy testing, and so you're not going to see a lot of that in this video. I'm just going to talk about stuff that I think is cool, kind of talk about some real world scenarios, things that separate this from other ones out there. I do get comments on if you were to get a battery, which one would you get? What's better? This is my use case scenario. There's not really a perfect battery for any one person. It's going to really depend on how you want to use it. There are kind of different categorizations of batteries, different sizes. I have some notes here that I'll look at as well for the specs that I don't remember. But the answer is it depends. This is a kind of an all-arounder. It's a pretty small size, which we'll get into later. Pretty good capacity, 2,000 watt hours roughly. Pretty good power, 2,000 watts. And a lot of really cool features and kind of like cutting edge technology. So this is a new brand, I believe. I don't even know the details of like how you're gonna get this. I believe they're launching a Kickstarter that they asked if I could publish this video in this time window. So I'm assuming the Kickstarter is going to launch now. And you may see, I have no idea. I haven't really talked to them. I don't really care that much about who else has these or anything, but you may see a bunch of these videos drop. I don't like when that happens. My bad if I'm just one of many that's dropping it. All right, hey guys, Future Mike here. I just got word that the Kickstarter just now went live, actually, and I didn't know much about the Kickstarter or pricing, and I got pricing. It's launching on Kickstarter for $1,099. I think MSRP is a little over $2,000, but it's launching at just over $1,000, which makes it wildly competitively priced compared to other offerings on the market in kind of the 2,000 watt hour, 2,000 watt category. Plus this thing's got gallium nitride technology. It's got semi-solid state batteries. It's a great price. So that's live now. I will link it down below, but sorry, I didn't talk about that at all in the video because I just didn't know about it. So yeah, back to the video. But I've been using this for a while. It is pretty cool for a plethora of reasons. We'll get into kind of like, I'll show you everything a little later, but I'm just gonna talk about some stuff up front that makes this little unit kind of spicy. So I was actually running a space heater off of this for a while, and I'm still, what's plugged in right now is the light that is illuminating me. But the space heater was a little bit loud, so I'm kind of re-recording this as a fan-blown space heater, and I don't know, I thought it was cool to run a space heater while I was recording, but audio wasn't great. So we're here for for round 2 with no space heater. So this unit is the first, they tell me it's the first unit with GaN technology, G-A-N. You may have seen it, gallium nitride. Capital G, lowercase a, capital N. I've seen it with like various USB-C chargers and stuff like that. It's essentially newer technology, material makeup of like semiconductors and boards and chips and everything, as opposed to silicon, which I'm sure you've heard of. But what GaN is, right now anyways, it's kind of more expensive and not really good for large-scale production. I'm not going to get too into the nerdiness because A, I don't know enough to talk that intelligently about it, but B, you probably don't really care. But what it means in practicality, like in real-world terms, is it allows the brains of the machine to be a little bit smaller, more efficient, produce less heat. So all of those things are very good for a unit like this. You want compact as much as compact can get. You want it to be more efficient, so you get more power out of your battery. You get more efficiency from your inverter, so you're not losing that DC to AC conversion and essentially getting less use out of your battery. And what did I talk about? Like, it produces less heat, and heat is the enemy to everything. So it has that. And the second really cool thing that this has is a semi-solid state lithium ion battery as opposed to a more liquid lithium ion battery. What that means is it's more dense. So again, it allows it to be even more compact and allows it to be a little bit lighter. And apparently, I haven't done enough research on this, so do your own research if you care more. Apparently, it's a more stable battery composition. It's a safer battery composition in heat tests and durability tests and pressure tests and stuff. The semi-solid state batteries perform better and safer than the non. But what that means is, yeah, a theoretically safer unit, a smaller unit, a lighter unit. I'll grab some other batteries that you may have seen or heard of, and this is smaller and lighter than any of the other 1500 watt-hour units, and this is 2000 watt-hour units. So this bad boy is roughly 14 wide, just over 8.5 deep, and about 10 inches tall, and it's quite a bit smaller than I have one or two other 2000 watt-hour units here. So I'll just kind of show you that later for a size comparison, but that is really super cool. Some other stuff that's neat is, I mean, it's a gorgeous looking thing. I don't know if you can tell in the video, I've actually scratched it. I've been beating it up. Some people don't like when I get free stuff because they're like, oh, you don't really give it's not the same as if you bought it. That's partially true, because if I bought this for however much it costs, I wouldn't be tumbling it around on my concrete porch and dragging it and flipping it on its side to look at stuff. I would be babying this thing. So there's a huge advantage to me getting stuff for free. I just beat it up and I don't feel bad about it. So that's definitely a pro, and I've been beating this up. But what this has is a full metal exterior, which is a lot different than pretty much every other unit on the market. And so that allows it to be durable. It allows it to be gorgeous. You know, it looks like an Apple product or whatever. And this is one like solid piece. There's no seams. There's no screws. There's no connection. It's basically a solid barrel of metal all the way around. And then when they assemble it, you know, they slide it in from one side or another, both sides, and then they like bolt it into the corners here. I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't taken this thing apart. But that's cool for a couple of reasons. One is this has basically the whole shell acts as a heat sink. So it kind of has passive cooling. And then it has active cooling. It has fans. The neat thing, and I've actually tested this quite a bit, is they say, and it seems to be true, right around 1,000 watts. If the inverter is pulling more than 1,000 watts, aka running a space heater or another higher draw device, the fans will kick on for cooling. Right now, powering a light, the light's not using much. It's using 120 watts, completely silent. There's no fans running at all. Now, that's one of the claim to fames to battery generators versus normal generators. Even when the fans are running full speed, it's much quieter than a gasoline-powered generator, obviously, or propane or diesel or whatever. But when the fans are running, it isn't completely silent. But this thing right now is completely silent, and some of that is due to the passive kind of heatsink cooling. Now, I've tested this pretty hard, and it has never really gotten like hot to the touch at all, like hardly even warm, which is kind of surprising. I mean, I think they're like maybe not pushing the passive cooling as much as they could, probably because they don't want this thing to be super hot or anything. So I'm out in the garage. That's a wreck, building a couple cabinets. So I've been out in the garage a lot trying to kind of organize things. So I figured it'd be a good test out here. I've been running this since near full. So electric heat, which is this guy, I have it at the full 1500 watt. Electric heat is super inefficient. So this is about the worst thing to try and do off of a battery. Doesn't really make any sense except for testing, because it dumps the battery pretty fast. There's not going to be much, or really any appliances like normal standard 120 appliances that are going to draw more power from a single plug. So this has been running again since near 100%, and I just kind of wanted to see if the passive kind of heat sink heating kind of started to heat up anywhere. I mean, it's like cool to the touch almost everywhere. Little bit warm under here, so not really getting hot, and I'm guessing won't ever really get hot. The fan is running, it's barely audible. There's actually this little icon, if you can see it, that shows that the fan is running. All right, Isabella rides this Sur-Ron almost every day. It's in need of a charge. I'm not actually even sure how much wattage this thing pulls, this big beastly charger. That guy there. So let's see. Picking up speed, well, a little over 2,000 watts, so I'm guessing this thing will trip here soon. Looks like we've stabilized at 2.07 kilowatts. This is kind of a real life test where things will pick up speed. The battery, the heater still going, so 2.08 kilowatts, 2.07. Well, it seems pretty stable here at 2.07 to 2.08. So just over 2,000 watts, which is near the limit of this thing, I'm guessing, and it is just humming along. The fan actually picked up a little bit, so I can hear the fan a little more. I can't really hear it over this fan and the fan on the charger, but since I'm close to it, I can. So now you see that dropped the time even more, and this is really dumping the battery now. And then that allows this to be, the metal casing plays into it, I'm sure. IP63 water and dust rating. So that means that's kind of important, because if you're out using this like I do, you're out taking it in vehicles, chucking it in the back of truck beds, and you're out letting it charge, and then it'll rain on you a little bit. That is an important thing. You might think, oh, well, that's not important. It's just going to be sitting in my closet, and I bust it out in a power outage. Maybe that's true for you, but for me, I am going to use and abuse it. So the IP63 rating is cool to have. And another neat feature, this isn't super unique to this product. A lot of the batteries are kind of going this route, but this has kind of a unique feature in that you can chain multiples of them together. There's a lot of batteries out there that you can, like, with a plug, double it in capacity or whatever, and that's really cool, or triple it in capacity, and all of those things are really cool. And again, this isn't the only one that does it, but this one, you actually can connect up to 10 of them. So you basically run a plug to, you know, a centralized system that has plugs running to all the other 9 units. So when you stack, you can combine up to 10. You don't have to do 10, but you can do up to 10. You get 20 kilowatt hours of battery capacity and 16 kilowatts of power. So you can power a house off of that. And that's kind of a neat thing with the same exact unit that you would take, you know, overlanding or whatever. You just buy a single one for emergencies at your house. You could stack 10 of these and literally just like back up your whole house. So that is cool. Again, not entirely unique to this one, but the features of it being just the same one that kind of stacks up is pretty cool feature. And then one other unique, again, I'm just kind of like banging out the unique features of this over a lot of the other batteries, is it has a built-in heater. So if the unit is on, the unit has to be on, but if the unit is on, as the temperature drops, the internal heater will keep everything warm enough to continue to operate. A lot of times these units will quit working. I've camped, not crazy cold, probably like -5 was the coldest I've ever camped. But I had a battery, I forget which one it was, and I don't want to throw them under the bus because all batteries would crap out except for this one at that temperature, because they don't have a way to stay warm enough. And once the batteries get too cold, lithium ions especially, they quit working. They quit being able to charge, but they also quit being able to discharge. So you can't put a charge in them when they're too cold, and they can't give you any power when they're too cold unless they're kept at a temperature. So this has internal heaters that will automatically kick on, and it will continue to function down to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, they've said. I did not test it down to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, so I can't speak to that. But according to them, negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty insane. Again, the unit does have to be on so it can maintain that temperature. If it's just off and you throw it out in Antarctica and expect it to turn on when it's negative 30, it won't. It has to be on. It has to understand, okay, I'm getting cold. Let me warm myself up. But that's the cool thing, is it will accept a charge and then it will continue to work as well down to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty rad. You can charge it like most units in a variety of ways from your car. You can charge it with DC from your car, from solar. All right, so I just plugged the solar panels in here. And sun just kind of rising up over this hill. I haven't tried to angle these perfectly at them, so I'm just going to leave them kind of straight out this way for now. So sun's pretty low. It's kind of in the winter, not angled perfectly at it, but we're getting 120 watts of input. So at this rate, you can see shows it's going to be about 16 hours for a full charge. So I actually found out we're here, it's a little later in the day now, so sun is not at its peak. Let me see if I can get refresh rate right so you can see it. Here we go. So we're getting 352 watts in, 353, a little over 354, a little over 350 watts in now off of these dual solar panels. You can actually just run them in series, they said. So series, you can chain a bunch of panels together, but in this case it's just two. So basically one connects to each other, and then one plug from one panel and one plug from the other panel go into the adapter that plugs right in there. So if you do have two of these panels, which I really like how compact these panels are, then they're don't need any separate adapter. Run them in series, and then you can run them both. There's pros and cons to series versus parallel. Parallel would be running them through an adapter into the thing. Series is just connecting them together. But yeah, the voltage, what can this handle? 12 up to 50 volts of solar input at 20 amps. Or you can charge it by plugging it into a wall. A Wally? I don't know. I am tired. Plugging it into a wall. I think they're going to offer like EV charging. It charges extremely fast though. So it charges at 1200 watts AC, which is extremely fast. You're not going to get much I think there may be a couple devices that are faster, like EcoFlows charge really fast, but 1200 watts of AC power, no brick needed. Just plug it right into a wall, standard 15 amp wall socket. And that'll take you from 0% completely dead to 100% completely full in 2 hours. And then it has extremely high solar charge rating as well. A lot of these units, these like kind of smaller, more compact units will have, 600 watt, 400 watts. I mean, the older units, you can only charge like 150 watts or whatever. They've been getting better and better and better. But this can handle 1,000 watts of solar in this little device of solar or wind input. So that's awesome. So yeah, let's zoom in and check this thing out a little bit. All right, so let's check out the front panel. Basically, so yeah, I'm still running this light off of this the whole time. Oh, it's just kind of funny and cool. So in the back, we have a light actually. I think you hold it, and then it'll click on. It's actually pretty bright. Now, lights on these things, I guess I'd rather have a light than not have a light. It gets really, really bright and has, is this SOS? Yep, SOS mode as well. Oh, and then just like a flashing mode. Okay, so 4 modes that you have with the light. Let me turn it off. And then back here, this is where you have the 2 fans, exhaust fans, and then this is where you have your AC input. This is the little plug to combine a bunch of them together, and then basically your reset for your breaker if you try to pull too much power. Has these little rubber pads underneath the handles, and then a rubber strip along the foot here. So cool design there. Nothing on the sides or the back. There are tiny kind of air vent holes, if you can see them, under on this one side. And then most of the action is up here in the front of the unit. So you have 6 AC plugs total, 3 with the triples, 3 with just the 2 plugs. Nice display, shows you kind of everything that you want to see, not too much data. There's not any menus or anything you can go through. Right now there is no app for this, but they told me there will be an app coming out soon for it, but I wasn't able to test the app. So you just have the display here that, again, kind of shows me pretty much everything that I would care about on a screen: your input, output, your times, how long it would take to charge, how long it will take to discharge, whether you're getting any input. It actually shows you when the fan is running as well. It's not running right now. And then each of these is controlled individually. You got to turn the whole unit on. There's a little glowing circle in these. Looks pretty nice. So AC on, off, USB. There are 4 standard USB A's. Well, not standard. 2 of them are QC 3.0. So up to 60 watt charging out of these 2 blue USB A's. 60 watts out of a USB A, insane. And these other 2 are 5 volt, 2.4 amps. Now it has 2 USB-C PD power delivery ports. Both of them are 100 watts. So that is awesome to see. A lot of the better units now at least have 1 USB-C PD 100 watts. Some of them have duals, but it's good to see duals. Dual 100 watt USB-Cs is as good as any unit has right now. So this is as good as it gets there. Interesting thing, the AC input is in the back. The DC input is actually in the front right here with an XT60 adapter. So these yellow ones, they have XT30s, I believe. You don't really see them. XT60s, which seem to be kind of the most common, and the XT90s, which are a little bit bigger. So it comes with some adapters like this one right here, which is an XT60 to MC4. These cables right here are called MC4s. They will be basically on most of your solar panels, unless it's like a branded solar panel that is designed to be used with like a specific unit. But most of your off-the-shelf panels are using MC4 connectors. So it comes with MC4 to XT60 adapter, and then comes with an XT60 to cigarette lighter, so you can charge it from your car. Now your car, cigarette, this is a 10 amp, 12 volt, so the max you're gonna get out of this is 120 watts typically. So you're gonna charge from your car pretty slow, and that's just all car chargers are gonna be pretty slow. They're usually pushing 100 watts, but max that they're capable of at 10 amps would be 120 watts. Speaking of cigarette lighters, this one, interestingly enough, most of your 12 volt cigarette lighter plugs will be 10 amps. This is actually a 12 amp. So if you have a device that just pulls a little more and seems to blow fuses or trip circuits on your 10 amp, this actually will be a little bit higher. I've never seen a 12 amp. They're always 10 amps pretty much. And then it has your 2 little like DC barrel plugs. And these are usually 3 amps, 12 volt at 3 amps. And these are 12 volts at 6 amps. It actually says it's 12.6 volts here, which is like a fully charged battery. That's not super unstandard. They usually say 12 volts, but put out a little more. But these ones actually say 12.6 volts on all of them. So those are your plugs that you're gonna have here. Pretty simple, like nothing too crazy here. There's no 30 amp plugs or anything like that on this unit. So you're just getting your 120 volt, 60 hertz plugs on the back here. But nicely laid out unit. The screen is very easy to read, even out in daylight. So that's a win for this unit. So yeah, I was gonna throw in, the people always do it. They always do. Oh, what? It powers my blender. It powers a coffee maker. It powers anything you plug into your standard household outlet, this is going to power. A space heater, electric heating is the most inefficient way to heat, and electric heaters, therefore blow dryers, anything that produces intended heat. Heat gun, those are going to be your highest toaster, microwave, coffee maker. Those are going to be your highest draw devices, space heater being one of the highest. So that earlier clip that I probably showed of the space heater running while charging the Suron, that's a very high use. You're never going to want to run a space heater on an extended period of time from one of these batteries. It is just basically the dumbest thing to do. And a lot of people will ask, how long will it run a blank? That's variable as well. How long will it run like a Dometic fridge or an ice cold fridge, whatever brand for ARB fridge? Well, how long will it run like a portable fridge? That's kind of one of the number one questions. That has a lot to do with how often you're opening it, what's actually inside of the fridge. Is it fridge or is it freezer mode? Because they're not, those fridges aren't constantly pulling a certain amount of power. They're kicking on to cool the interior contents down, and then they're shutting off for a while. So how long will it run a fridge? That's a tough one because it really depends on usage. Now, static power devices, which there aren't as many of them, but like a light, a heater, things like that, they're just going to run for an extended period of time. Those are easier to calculate. But you say, I mean, rudimentary, it equates to less because you're losing some efficiency. But say you have something that's drawing 1,000 watts and you have 2,000 watt hour battery, it's going to last you for 2 hours. It's going to last you less, but a rudimentary calculation, if you're ever curious, I have a light that's running at 100 watts constant. How long is a 2,000 watt hour unit going to last me? 20 hours. It's going to be a little less than that, but that's your basic calculation if you're ever trying to calculate things. So yeah, that's it. I try to remind you guys in most videos, and most of you guys know this by now, but turning on and running the inverter, just having it on, is going to have a constant power draw on this device because inverters, even the GANs, aren't perfectly efficient. So anytime you have an option, for instance, if you have like a Dometic fridge and it has an option to plug in with a cigarette lighter, or it has an option to plug in with an AC power cord, always use the DC. Or if you have a MacBook or another laptop that you charge, or a phone that you charge, and it has a USB-C cable or a USB cable, don't plug that cable into an adapter and then plug it into the AC port. That's a very inefficient way to charge from a battery. What you want to do is just plug that USB-C cable or USB-A cable, especially with these 60 watt and 100 watt plugs. You just want to plug them right into the DC. So then the unit doesn't have to run its inverter at all. That's the best way to do it. So I love the double USB-Cs. I love the high power USB-As. What I want to see companies do, I don't think there is a single company that does it, especially in my world, the overland world, is have like 2 or 3 cigarette lighter ports. It's always one. It is always one, but I am always out, and there are multiple items that I wish I could run off of cigarette lighters. You know, it's this old, stupid standard. I wish a lot of these things would convert to, especially now with USB-C PDs being able to be 100 watts, I wish more things would convert to just higher power USB-Cs, but there's tons of devices out there that are still cigarette lighter ports. So I'd love to see 2 or even 3 cigarette, and you can get splitters, but you're still, when you split something and you have 2 higher draw devices, you're going to trip it. The 12 amp actually is nice on that because you could use a splitter and get a little more power out of it than you would on a 10 amp. But I would like to see 2 or 3, or maybe just make this amperage. They don't want to make the amperage rating too high because there's some safety into that. There should be, these cigarette lighters almost have their own fuses inside, and they're usually 10 amp fuses. So there should be some redundant safety built in, but maybe they don't want to make this a 20 or 30 amp. I mean, it's a lot of power from a 12 volt, but maybe they don't want to do that because downstream could cause fires or whatever, and then this device would be liable. Long-winded request to have more units have 2 or 3 cigarette lighter plugs. Yeah. Or Anderson plugs. I like to see if you were going to use this like in a van build or something, you want to power ham radios or something like that. I always like to see the Anderson plugs as well, or some other standard that allows you to do just kind of a dedicated DC. But multiple cigarette lighters would be cool. So that's it. Super compact device, really, really cool technology in this. You see it, you see the specs, and it's not anything revolutionary, but it is a cut above pretty much everything else that's out there right now, kind of in its class. So, yeah, the ETaker M2000. I will put whatever information I have on purchasing this down below, but I'm 95% sure it is a Kickstarter that's launching soon. Sweet. I'm going to be doing some more battery stuff soon. These battery videos always tank on my channel. My audience doesn't care too much about them. The ones that do watch them do care a lot, but I know most of you guys are like, meh, I don't care. But I'm going to be outlining, probably I'm going to be battery backupping. I'm going to be adding battery backup so I can back up my entire home with batteries and solar, so I could flip a switch as well if I want to and go completely off grid because I'm on well and septic. I'm always going to be kind of testing and evaluating these portable units because new ones keep on coming out. And I may try to battery power my barn shop build as well. So you can look forward to some of that in future content on my channel. If you are a nerd, then get subscribed to this channel. Or if you're not a nerd, I do some cool stuff as well. You can get subscribed too. Thanks for watching. Comment down below. As always, you know, if batteries aren't your cup of tea, you probably didn't watch this video, and you probably didn't watch it to the end, but let me know. I always like to hear from you guys in the comments below what types of videos you would like to see, what types of reviews. I do everything: clothes, pants, boots, knives, backpacks, battery, like everything. So I don't know what you guys want to see. It doesn't really matter too much. I'll just kind of make the videos that I want. But if you request stuff, I always do try to listen to you guys and make those types of videos. So yeah, cool product. Thanks to ETaker for getting this out to me. It's rad. Nice work, guys. All right. Well, until next time, take care.